Liberate IT is an Oracle NetSuite solution provider that has been servicing Australian and New Zealand companies since 2011.
Welcome to today's webinar. I am Andrew Liniger, the Relationship Manager for Liberate IT. I'll be your host today. I'll be running through a few things. I'll be giving you a brief Liberate IT team update, quick recap on the 22.1 release, and that's all completed, which is good news. We'll be hearing from the team at Straightsell, and then I'll return at the end to wrap things up. A little bit of housekeeping. We'll be recording today's session. We will be posting that on our YouTube channel and on our website. So if you missed today, welcome. If you're listening into the future, that's great. If you're here today and live with us, please do use the Q&A function as opposed to the chat. That will help us capture all your questions for the team and make sure that we get those answered easily for you. Okay, so team updates. We've had a bit of an expansion this year, which is really exciting. So I thought I'd use this opportunity just to share some of those updates with you. So Michelle Cronje, who's one of our long-term consultants, she's returned from parental leave last month, and she's heading up our support team. So if you're reaching out to the support desk, you will probably be hearing from her in the morning. So please continue to do that. As you know, Michelle is very knowledgeable and very experienced and loves to help. So we're really pleased to have her back on deck. New consultant, Angela Van Engelen. I hope I've done your surname justice, Angela, sorry. She's joined the team recently as a new consultant based in New Zealand, right at the top of the North Island, north of Auckland. She brings 18 years of consulting experience with her, so pleased to have her on board. Sarah Fox joins the team as a new consultant also based in New Zealand, this time in Auckland. She's got extensive NetSuite administrator experience as an end user of NetSuite. And as you may know, those skills translate really well into becoming a consultant. And so we're stoked to have Sarah join the team as well. So that's our professional services team and support, but we've also got a development team. We've got a bit of a hub happening in Sydney, and Sarah Kuroi joins our development team. She's based in Sydney as well. So if you've got any customization that you need doing, please do reach out to me. Our devs are awesome at what they do. So we'd love to help you out with that. Also, in terms of what's happening with Liberate IT, if you'll see in the top right-hand corner, we've got the certification around expertise in ERP. That's a new certification that NetSuite has released this year. I'm really pleased to say that we're the first NetSuite partner in all of ANZ to get certified within that, and one of the first of the 10 worldwide to get that competency badge. So they're replacing the star rating system. So it's all about our experience and our depth of experience to help our customers. So there was quite a lengthy certification process that our consultants needed to go through in a range of different areas within NetSuite to make sure that we know what we're doing when we're talking to you and helping you out. So really stoked with that, and you'll see that that badge a lot moving forward. Okay, so new release, finally it's here and done and dusted. I hope you used the test environment to do all your testing before you updated to the new release. By all accounts, it went really smoothly. Lots of improvements in that. If you missed it, Portlet, you've still got the release notes to go in and check those things out, or some of the videos that they've released as well. I really wanted to give you an update on the Project 360 and Cash 360 dashboards. I'm being told still that it's a May thing, so that's, well, let's call it next week, huh? When they're going to be released. But no, sometime in May, I'm told that they'll be in there as part of the new release. So really looking forward to that, particularly for those businesses not in services work. That Cash 360 looks pretty cool. So can't wait for that to land. And as soon as it does, we'll tell you all about that. Data center migration is continuing. So as you may or may not know, a lot of our customers before the Oracle acquisition were all based out of the Seattle data center. That those customers are all slowly migrating safely across to the Sydney data center. By all accounts, that's going really, really smoothly and really well. If you're not yet on the Sydney data center, do please let me know. We can ask NetSuite to jump you up in the queue. No guarantees, but hey, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to put in a good word for you. Okay, so without any further ado, I would just like to introduce Oliver Fratz. Oliver is the Project Office and Account Manager for Straightsell. He's going to take you through all things Straightsell. So Oliver, over to you, mate.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew. So yeah, my name's Oliver. I've been with Straightsell now for approximately 15 years. And my main role is to communicate with potential customers in order to determine and scope their requirements in relation to an integrated e-commerce website. So I'm also joined today by Chris Slattery, who's the Managing Director of Straightsell, and I'll be handing over to him later for the actual demonstration to show you a little bit about how NetSuite integrates and communicates with our web store. And he's our resident expert in accounting system and accounting system process matters. So important person to have on board there for a couple of reasons. So just going to change screens now and just show you a little bit about who we are. So we're essentially an e-commerce website integration provider, and we've been helping Australian and New Zealand companies automate their online presence since 2007. So essentially our core business is to provide self-managed B2B and B2C web stores with a pre-built integration to accounting systems and ERPs that naturally includes NetSuite. So just on that topic, since we're on NetSuite, just wanted to talk a little bit about the actual integration itself. So as I might have just mentioned, the integration itself is pre-built. That means it's part of our web store CMS. So when you log into your web store to manage things, it'll be there. It's a very simple process for us to initially connect directly to NetSuite because it's pre-built. And once connected, the integration can cater for the automatic transfer of a range of items. So things included in that from NetSuite to the web store are things like account data, your customer special pricing, invoice information, and from the website coming back into NetSuite, we have web orders and payments. So that's essentially the round trip. And you can see there from the screen that I've got in front of me, there's a few things there that tell you the features that we have, and we have some additional features as well. So a few of our add-ons are also supported. I suppose with that in mind, important differentiator from us versus probably other integration providers, and very important for, I think, B2B businesses, is that the web store supports all the pricing structures that are available in NetSuite. So for instance, if you were going with a Shopify platform, you wouldn't be able to extract all of the different price structures that exist in NetSuite automatically to the website. And we do that automatically. There's no mucking about for us to do. As part of the pricing upload, it just transfers across and it's available for your customers on login. An additional factor to bear in mind is that we also provide all of the technology and resources that you'll need to build, integrate, launch, host, and maintain your e-commerce website that works with NetSuite. So if you think about a situation where you might need to go out to get a WordPress WooCommerce website, so that's WordPress, that's WooCommerce, you're going to need a connector. Does the connector support what all of the items that you need coming from NetSuite? Of course, it has to integrate with NetSuite. Probably need a credit card, and maybe you'll even need an agency at that level to pull it all together. So we do all of that. So you come to us, you have one person to talk to during the project process. You have an assigned project manager that helps you through the whole process, and then you transition after that into our support. So you're supported by us at all stages for all components of the website. And of course, that brings us to the second most important component, which is the actual website itself. Obviously, you can't sell anything to integrate with NetSuite if you don't have a web store. So we've got the web store plans here. So I'm going to just shuffle between a couple of screens here to help you understand how this all works. So we offer 3 different pricing plans, and the pricing plans are tiered based on functional components. So with that in mind, we have the B2B. So this is if you've got an ordering portal, so maybe a dealer login that's connected to an existing website, and it has no public facing catalog. So it's just a login And you can see the pricing there is for NetSuite. It's $3,000 once off and $250 per month. Then if you were going to have a public-facing catalog, it is $6,000 and $250 per month. And then the advanced plan is essentially exactly the same as this, but enables custom functionality. And that's an important point to bear in mind. We do custom functionality. So it's important to be able to then, as part of the website, choose what theme you're going to have. So am I having a login portal or am I having a public-facing website? And that is then reflected back to the pricing plans. So if you do need to have some custom functionality, then we can actually scope that and implement it for you. So maybe an example here is if I look at pricing and I go into the actual website features. So each one of these has its own feature set, which is standard. Then you can expand on that with add-ons. So we have a range of add-ons that you can just bolt in. Think of things like plugins to Shopify as an equivalent example of what that is. So different payment options, different features, and so on. And then we have custom functionality. So maybe, for example, in New Zealand, you often have a warehouse on the North and South Island, and you need to have particular association between a customer and a warehouse, and also have the orders that are generated routing to those different warehouses as part of the business. Then in that case, we will class that as custom functionality. Something we can do. So it's important to bear in mind that, again, a major differentiator maybe between us and a lot of other platforms is that the website is fully extensible and customizable. So extensible in terms of add-ons and customizable in terms of you can tell us what requirement you have and we can assess that for implementation. So as an example, you might want to start off with a very basic plan just to get online and get your NetSuite integrated business up and running. And then maybe have two add-ons or something like that, something like credit card payment gateway and PayPal, something very simple, standard features, 2 payment platforms. Later on, you can actually expand that and include other add-ons during the project, after go live. So at any time, and we've had customers now, a few of them for 10 years, and they have done exactly that and have consulted with us as part of that to say, what do we think you should do? And they take that into consideration when making their assessment of how to move forward. So effectively, every website is a starting point, not an end point for your online business. And that's an important thing to bear in mind, because it means you can grow as your business grows and have that fully automated with NetSuite running in the background as your core source of truth. So I think that pretty much sums up what we do. So we provide a self-managed e-commerce website. It's connected to NetSuite. It's pre-built, no work to do. You just give us some details, we connect the two together, and then you can start working on your online catalog. So with that in mind, and having just talked a little bit about how we do things and what we are, I'm just going to ask Chris now to briefly run through a presentation of exactly what I've mentioned, a web store and how that can interact with NetSuite. So I'll just hand over to Chris now to start that ball rolling.
Thank you, Oliver. I'll just start sharing my screen here. All right. I'm hoping you can all hear me. And so on screen, I've just got the Straightsell website. Oliver showed you some of the pages of the Straightsell website. So what I want to specifically show is a demonstration website that I've pre-integrated to NetSuite. And but a reminder, when you come to the straightsell.com.au website and choose the themes page, Oliver did show this screen. There are the 2 types of websites that are the starting point for Straightsell. And I've actually used this standard theme, or the B2B and B2C theme. So if you do come to this page and click View Demonstration Website, you will get a version of the website that I'm showing today that you can play with, you can log into, and you get a feel for how the website actually works, and how the website will work for you. So just a reminder, you can get to that yourself straight off the Straightsell website. So I've got in a tab here a version of that demonstration website. And this one I've integrated with NetSuite. It is integrated to NetSuite 2022.1. And this is set up for the session today. And so I'll be showing a little bit around the integration functionality specifically between this theme and also the NetSuite system. You can see here, this is 2022.1. And multiple functions within NetSuite and the website itself and how they interact. I will also log into the content management system. So I'll leave this sitting here for when the time comes. This is straight off the Straightsell website. The CMS, I'll say CMS during the session. What that means is content management system, and that's the maintenance tool, the management tool that sits behind the website that enables you to manage the site ongoing. So, so let's get into some information about how products integrate. So what I'll do is I'll just, on my demonstration website, just choose the products function on the menu. I'll also use the categories displayed in the category images of the website. You can use the categories down the left-hand side as well, but I'll just choose accessories, cushions. And I've got to a point where I'm seeing, you know, we cater for 3 levels deep in a category tree. You can see here, accessories, cushions, square. And I've got some products that are listed, all these cushions under square, but I've also got some products or a single product here listed under just cushions. So a product doesn't appear to be categorized correctly. So we might have a bit of a look at this particular product, and we'll add some information to NetSuite for this particular product. We'll change the category that this product is in to move it from cushions, category level 2 to a category level 3 of square. So let's just click on this product and see the sort of information that a typical product listing or an individual product itself on, you know, what it looks like. So what I can tell you is everything down this right-hand side, apart from these Afterpay, ZipPay logos, all comes out of NetSuite. And so when dealing with Straightsell, we like to build the product information not in our own websites, but actually have you load that product information into the master database, NetSuite. So if you are running a separate website through a third party and you've got, you know, unique product descriptions, for example, or long description, and you don't have that in NetSuite, one of the things we'd want you to do is actually bring that data back into that master database, which is NetSuite. You can see here I've got some specifications, other things. So we'll go and have a look in NetSuite and we'll see where this information is maintained in NetSuite, and we'll make a few changes and upload it to the website. Now, just a note, we support up to 9 images per product. Just name the product code, and these are prepared and uploaded separately to the CMS. So let's go into NetSuite and have a bit of a look at where this particular product, we can see here, this is the product code, ending core 292. So we'll have a bit of a look at that. So here's my NetSuite environment. I'll just use the function here to get to specific functions that I've saved and opening new tabs as I go in NetSuite. So here's our core 292. So I'll just do a straight edit on that, and we'll have a look at some information. Now, I know, because I've set up the demonstration environment, that there's certain field mapping that I've already made. And I will touch on that field mapping when I get logged into the CMS, the content management system. So for now, what I'll do is I'll just change some of the fields that I know are mapped in our system, and I'll show you that mapping when I get to it. So I do know that, for example, the name of the product on the website uses the display name code. So I'm just going to choose to add some information, in this case, you know, the Liberate IT webinar, to that particular field. I know that the description for the product is coming from the sales description, so I'll just paste that into that field as well. Just in this primary information tab, what I do know is that I've mapped the category tree on the website, accessories, cushion square, to the class field here in NetSuite. So what I'm going to do is just choose, you can see I've got accessories cushion, which is where the product exists today, and that's the wrong spot. I want it one level deeper to the accessories cushion square. So I'm changing that. I'll come down to the other tabs. Of course, I'm using AUD pricing in my demonstration, and these different price lists will come up a bit later in the session. But I'll move to the purchasing information tab, and I know I've mapped the manufacturer to a field for a brand on the website. So I'll put that, update that manufacturer. I'll move over to another tab, which is the custom tab. So we do support all custom fields. If you've created custom fields within NetSuite for additional information, for example, like what I've got here is a web size, and so I might just change that. And I know that's mapped through to the size on the website. But there are other custom fields. For example, if you didn't want to have you were using the class in NetSuite for something else, you could actually set up here, for example, web category 1, web category 2, web category 3, and actually maintain those category tree for the product listing on the website in custom fields. I set up the web size specifically as a way of having a custom field that I could demonstrate. We also utilize the web store tab within NetSuite. So we particularly like to be able to set up customers to filter products based on the display in web store. So what that means is you've got 1,000 products in NetSuite over the course of the 5 years of you using it. Some are obsolete, some are not sold directly, or some are white labeled for other customers, for example. So they're not sold to just every general customer. Then you could flag those products that you want to display on the web store with the display on web store flag, and then we use that in the filtering of what products we pull into NetSuite. So for example, on the web store tab, if you wanted to use website categories function within the web store tab, we support that. So what I do know is in this web store description field, I'm using that for information on the web. So I'll just paste my little Liberate IT webinar in there. Okay, so what I'll do is I've made a few changes to the product. I'll just save that away within the system and just make sure it's saved, which it is, which is very good. See the green confirmation. I'll switch over to my Straightsell.com.au website, and I'll come into the content management system that I referenced earlier. Note that we do provide our own payment gateway as well, and so that's for credit card processing on the website. So we do offer that. You may have seen credit card processing in the add-on screen that Oliver showed earlier. So let's log into the CMS. And this gives you a feel for, this is a real, how you'd log in if you were using the Straightsell website. I've got a few demo sites configured, so I've got to make sure I choose the right one. Okay, so I've logged into this content management system, and I'm on the dashboard. It is a demonstration site, so in terms of the number of data and the volume of information that a typical customer might have, it's pretty low. But we do have a bit of a dashboard here for you to do some analysis when using Straightsell in terms of the total number of orders, the value of orders, who paid, what was the value of the payments, did they use credit card on account? We've got other information shown like the average value of orders for the financial year and the total number of orders for the financial year, and a few other summary information, top products, et cetera, So that's all available within the CMS. And there's a whole range of functions down the left-hand side. Now, in a typical project, we're running a training course on the CMS, so to teach you how to use that. And so I won't go into every particular function. That'll make the webinar drag out quite a long period of time, but I will focus in on some specific functions related to the integration. And so I'm going to choose CloudLink, which is the name of our integration product. It's the integration tool that we've built within our CMS that integrates NetSuite and our websites. And of course, there's a lot of functions within here, but I'll just focus on some of the specific ones and come initially to import and publish. What we've done is we've made a range of changes to the website we've made a range of changes to a product, specifically the core 292 product in NetSuite. And so what I want to do here is actually upload that information to the website. And so at any point in time after making changes like a whole pricing update, for example, in NetSuite, you could jump into the CMS and force a manual synchronization of the data from NetSuite to the website. So in this case, what I'm doing is forcing or processing a manual import of items from NetSuite and a publish of items to the website. And I'll just press save and get that started. Now, when you've kicked off a manual process, it does show on screen that a particular function, there's items, there's customers, there's pricing, there's invoices that we import and publish through to the website. I won't show you each of these things today, but I'll just touch on a few of them. But in this case, I've run import items, and you can see it's queued up. So in our backend system on our web servers, which are hosted out of Amazon Web Services in Sydney, there's a process running that checks for websites that have queued processes every 3 to 5 minutes. So I don't have specific control of when that kicks off, but I know the next time our backend process runs, it's going to find that this particular website requires an import of items from NetSuite. Typically, if you have a look at the enable automation and the help there shown on screen, the import of items is run every hour once automation is enabled, and the import of customers, pricing, and invoices is run automatically on an overnight basis once you've ticked the enable automation box and hit save. So while that's running, I will touch on, you can see here it's still queued, it will change on screen. I don't need to stay on this screen in order for it to continue. I might just jump into the field mappings while I'm waiting for that to run and just show you the field mappings. And so down the left-hand side of the CloudLink field mappings are all the fields, including custom fields, that are required to be populated for a product on the website. And so there's 2 pages you see here, there's another page there. Through the center is where we've mapped that field from NetSuite. So for example, when we look at a category level 1 and a category level 2, we talked about changing a class in NetSuite. And so you can see here, category level 1's mapped to class level 1. So if I wanted to change that to a custom field, I could just click the drop down. And what we've done is when we connect to NetSuite, we go looking for all of the possible fields in NetSuite in an item, and we've sort of mapped them up front. And so if I scroll down this list, if you added a brand new custom field in NetSuite, and then you came back into the mapping and wanted to map it, what happens when you first connect, a NetSuite for the day? We go off to NetSuite and we grab all this information and we cache it on our web server. So basically, you add a custom field into NetSuite, you can come back in here, refresh this list by just logging into the function and see a list of all the possible custom fields. And so you can see here, here's my category level 1, 2, and 3 from custom item 9, 10, and 11. So if I wanted to map it to that, I could just simply choose that from the list. Something else that I wanted to just show you while in here is actually the standard price field, and just flag. I am going to show you a retail order today and a wholesale order. So you can see here for retail customers, retail customers get a standard price shown on the website before login, and then wholesale customers, we use price rules from NetSuite after login. But in this case, the standard price field, I just want to flag to you that it's mapped to the online price. So you can see the other price levels there, but it's on the online price. So that's when I say field mappings, that's what I'm talking about. So I'll just jump back into import publish and see if that import publish process is run. And so because there's nothing shown on screen, what I know is it's completed the processing of the import of items. Now, what's also important when having done that is that we actually log that. So you can see here, there's an import publish log. And so if I come into that import publish log and I just highlight, because I'm familiar with the screen, but you can see here the CloudLink item import started, and progressively as the log went through, 0 items were deleted, 2 items were modified, 0 new items were added, and we've published those CloudLink items and we've finished. So everything in terms of the integration is logged and available for you to review via the CMS, but it's also available for us to review via the CMS because we can shadow login to the CMS system ourselves from within our global admin tool. So now that we know the item import is finished running, we can come back to the Straightsell website. I'll just click the homepage of the website and start to refresh the information in my browser, and then choose products. This is the same as what we were doing before, accessories. And you'll see we're at cushions, and the product on cushions is no longer there. And one of the changes we made was to take that product that was incorrectly categorized just in accessories, cushions, and push it down into square. So if we click on square, we'll see the cornucopia cushion here. I'll just sort that by product code. And the first thing you'll notice is that the name has changed, and we've got that Liberate IT webinar listed there. So I'll just click on it and we'll see what else we changed. And so obviously, as I just mentioned, we've changed the name. We've changed the brand. We changed the size. We added Liberate IT webinar here into the description. And also we added the Liberate IT webinar into the specifications. And so to summarize what we've done and to summarize what we'd want to do in any project that we might run with you is to load the data needed for the website into the master database, into the items, either into the web store tab, into custom fields, into a range of standard fields in NetSuite. And so that if you do run third-party websites, for example, you may not have your long descriptions or your specifications or your brands or other things in NetSuite. And that's something that you'd engage the Liberate IT team and Andrew with to help you prepare that data and load that data into the correct locations in NetSuite. Now, if there's a field or a custom field or perhaps a new field that isn't in the mapping, that's something that is not an issue. We are commonly extending our integration. It's code that we've written and that we manage. And so that's just something that you could request us do, either in the project or afterwards when you're a live client. Okay, what I'll do now is I'll move on to just processing a retail order. I've got this particular product here. You can see I've got a price, Inc. GST. We do support Australian GST, New Zealand GST. We've got customers live in New Zealand. I should say we've got 170 customers' website contracts in place, and they're in every state in Australia and in New Zealand. And we do have one customer in Fiji as well. So let's add this into the shopping cart. I've just clicked add. I'll open the shopping cart and I'll go through and process a retail order just so you get the feel for, how does a retail customer order? So for example, you'll notice I haven't logged in at all. I'm just seeing products, I'm seeing pricing, I'm seeing stock availability, and I'm just simply adding it into the shopping cart. GST is displayed there in the shopping cart. And then I'm going to go through the multiple step process of just going through that checkout process. So I'm on page 1, which requires me to enter contact details and delivery details. So I've got information. I've obviously done this demonstration before. I've got a list of data stored in my browser cache. I'm just choosing that from the list rather than me type it in and totally make a mistake. I'm going to choose from the list here and put it in from my browser cache. I might just put a little if I could spell it correctly, Liberate IT in the recipient there, just so that we know it's for this particular test. And I might also put a note in here. See, I told you my typing was bad. Liberate IT webinar retail notes. And just so we'll see where that goes when it goes into NetSuite. I'll hit continue and come through to the freight and terms page. Now, typically I've got my demo site configured for free freight. Now, typically for a customer that would be configured for perhaps New Zealand Post and Courier Post. So you can have it configured for Toll or IPEC or other third-party freight companies as well. It's just a matter of how much time you want to spend setting up your freight matrix within the content management system. Alternately, if you don't want to do that and use a third-party freight integrator, we can, and it's listed on our add-ons. We've got a range, I think 3 different freight providers that we integrate with that will use their system to calculate the freight and display on page here. I've got a range of payment terms configured: Afterpay, PayPal, ZipPay. They're all available on the add-ons page. When you're liaising with Oliver about the scope of work that we're doing and the requirements for your project, please make sure to have a look at the add-ons and have a look and pick the different things and identify those for Oliver. He'll naturally point you through to some of those things in discussions that you might have. I'm going to choose credit card for now, because what we do is we not only put an order into NetSuite, but we also put a credit card payment in NetSuite as well. So I'll hit continue. And now this is our payment page. It's a hosted payment page, which is protected by Google reCAPTCHA. And what I'm doing, instead of punching credit card details, I'm just going to choose, once again, from my browser cache, a test credit card, and punching a security code there. So I'll just choose pay now and complete that order process. So that is a retail order that we've just processed. We didn't log in. And so that's the distinction. For us, retail customers come to the site, they find products and pricing, add to cart, check out, no login. Wholesale customers, when they come to the site, they log in, and that triggers the price rules, which I'll get to shortly. Now, every order that's generated from our system, it gets the next number along. In this case, our test order ends in 0168, and it's for $52.25, including GST. So at that point in time when that order is processed, there are 2 emails sent, one to the customer as a confirmation of their order, and one to your sales order entry team, to an email address that you've specified to the website, indicating to your order entry team, hey, there's a new website order. And when my email runs on another screen, I'll pop one of those emails up during the course of the session and just show you what it looks like. The other thing that happens at this point in time, when an order is processed, is back into the content management system, under e-commerce menu, under web orders, we actually have a list. The order is stored in our back-end system. And here's our order number. It's the top of the list there, 0168, which is processed today. And you'll notice that it's in an anonymous buyer. So we accumulate all retail orders into something we call an anonymous buyer on our side. And that anonymous buyer on our side is linked to one unique customer in NetSuite. If you wanted retail customers to log in or to have separate accounts created in NetSuite automatically, then what we'd have them do is those retail customers during the checkout process would be requested to log in. When they were logged in, then they create a unique buyer in our side, and that unique buyer would be generated and create a customer in NetSuite as and when required. But while I've been talking, this 0168 order, you can see here's our retail test order. Over here, there's a CloudLink export status. And so that order has already been exported while I've been chatting from the website through to NetSuite. Now, before we go and have a look at that order, I'm going to trigger and just process an order for a wholesale customer. So I'll come back to my website. I'll choose my products again. I'll just navigate through. This time I'll use the left-hand navigation, or I could even just choose a brand, and I'll go to my Liberate IT webinar brand. And here's our one product that we'd flagged as that brand. Well, actually what I'll do is I'll clear the brand and get a couple of products. So I'll add cornucopia cushion and the coral cushion just into the shopping cart. So we've got a couple of products in the shopping cart, and what I might do is just actually take a little screenshot of the shopping cart before login. And we can see it's $115.50. So I'll just move that to the side and then log in. So I'm going up to the login. I've set up this demonstration site. So I've got an email address and password combination to log in as what we call a buyer. And I'm logging into the website. So let's check who I've logged into. And you can see here the company name I've logged into is account customer 1. And let's have a look at the shopping cart. So as we can see, if I drag back the retail pricing versus the wholesale pricing, some price rules are configured for this account customer 1. So the core 292 product went from $47.50 to $40. And the Cora 038 product went from $57.50 to $50. And that's based on the price rules that are configured in NetSuite for account customer one. So let's go through and actually have a look at those price rules in NetSuite and just have a look at where that's set up so that we're familiar with what we need to do in NetSuite in order to configure pricing for a Straightsell website. Jumping back to NetSuite, I'll come over here and just choose my customers. And we need to remember it's account customer one, so it's on screen here, and I'll just do view. And we'll have a look at where these price rules come from. Okay, here's our account customer one, and I know that I need to go to the financials tab and I need to have a look at the price level. So you can see here, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about field mapping, the retail customer price list was the online price, but this particular customer's price list is set to the corporate price. So let's actually have a look at a couple of items and the different pricing. And so what I might do is there's the Cora 038 product. I'll open that in a new tab. And here's our Core 292. So I leave this in the current tab and just view it. And we'll actually have a look at both of them and just see what pricing is set up. So here's my Core 292 product, the first product in the shopping cart. I'll switch down to the AUD pricing tab. And clearly, here's the online price. You can see that in the price list. Online price is $47.50. And the corporate price is actually $45. But I'm not getting $45 on the website. I'm actually getting $40. So there must be something else set up in the price rules. So let's have a look at what else is set up. So I'm back at the customer. And what I can tell you is that we do support the group pricing in the customer, as well as the item pricing in the customer configuration, which overrules the price list price. And so you can see here is the Cora 292 or Core 292 product, which actually has a custom price level, and the custom price is configured at $40. And so that's where I'm getting the $40. In the case of the Core 292, it's using the customer specific item pricing, not the price level price for display on the website. So now let's have a bit of a look at the next product, which is the Cora 038 product. You can see that there, Cora 038, and that's set to $50. So let's go over here. I did open another tab for the Cora 038 product, and let's scoot our way down to the price levels. And I know that I'm using AUD price. So it was set at $57.50 for the online price, and it's just using the corporate price level there of $50. One thing I can say is we do actually use and accept the quantity break pricing based on the price lists as well. So if that was configured or that was something you need configured, then just set it up in NetSuite and our website will support it as well. Okay, so that's where the pricing, as soon as we logged into that price, or should I say, as soon as we logged into the website, as a particular buyer, the account customer one, we triggered the pricing. So I've talked about buyers. In the CMS, under e-commerce, manage buyers. If I do a quick search, this just shows you the back end of the website. With the CMS, what's the configuration? And you can see here, account customer one is configured with a reference from NetSuite of an internal ID of 2324. So if I come over to the customer, and you may not have internal references set up within NetSuite to display or an internal ID displayed, but if you actually look up in the URL path, you can see it's right there. Account customer one is internal ID 2324. And that's how we link, that's how we're linking a customer from NetSuite to a buyer that logs in on our website. Okay, what I'll do is I will just clear up a bit of product out of my shopping cart, and I'll complete the checkout process for that logged in customer. Because I'm logged in, you can see the information displayed on the checkout process is defaulted. But what I might do is actually punch in a PO number so we can see where that goes. I normally use the date in reverse order here, so I'll just put that in. Just pick our phone number. And I'm hoping that's spelled correctly. And we'll just put wholesale order and continue through to page 2. choose my free freight option. You can configure logged in customers, with the freight rules to have different rules. For example, free freight or freight over a certain value is free in our freight matrix that you configure within CMS. Each of those buyers or customers who log in, you can configure different payment terms. So this particular account customer one, it's an account customer. It's going to order on account, and I'll invoice them separately. So I'll press continue on that, and then I'll place the order. So once again, that's generated an order number ending 0184, and this one is for $44. This one is for an account customer, so it should go into the account. Now, emails have had time to perhaps come into my inbox, and so I might just have a look on the side and see if I can drag up the emails for the retail order we processed earlier. So I'm just dragging that on screen now. This is the "you have a new online order." This is the email that gets sent to your own internal team, your sales order entry team, saying you have a new online order. It does reference 0168. That was the retail order, that first order we processed. So the idea of sending this email to you and also having the order number, and likewise, the customer having a version of this, which I'll just get up on screen as well. And so here's the one that gets sent to the customer. This one's a thank you for your order. The idea of having that with the web order number is if they've forgotten to process an order, they've just got their confirmation email, they look at it and go, oh my goodness, I've forgotten to order a product, or I've got the wrong quantity, or I've got the wrong size. Then basically when they call you to say, hey, I processed this order, but something's wrong, your order entry team can say, well, have you got your order confirmation? And it should have a subject of thank you for your order. In that order confirmation is a web order number or an order number. Can you tell me what that order number is? So they've got access to that order number, and then you can cross-reference that back to the order in NetSuite. So I'll just close those two emails, and we'll just have a look at, once again, at the time an order is processed, it is stored in our CMS under e-commerce web orders. So we'll just click in here to the e-commerce web orders, and we can see that this particular order, the first order was successfully exported by the time I got to it. This one's still pending. And so what I didn't explain is how web orders get exported out. So we'll come back into CloudLink. We'll come down into export. And export, the function itself is a little bit different than the import. There is the ability to manually export an order when editing the order and the export a payment. You can do that, definitely. But in terms of configuring the export, it's just a matter of configuring it to automatically export orders, automatically export payments, and automatically export customers if you need Straightsell to do that. And so by ticking these boxes and hitting save and having it stored as automatically export, when the order is processed on the website, as soon as that order goes into our system, it's set as pending status. And then once again, that 3 to 5 minute process is sitting there on our web server. Every time that kicks off, basically it looks for any pending orders and just immediately processes them out of the Straightsell CMS via the integration into NetSuite. Now, when I talk about the integration into NetSuite, what I can tell you is we use the token-based authentication in NetSuite. And so in the NetSuite settings, we configure, for example, things, and you may not have heard of token-based authentication, but I guess we're not using a username and password used to log into NetSuite. We're attaching to that username and password a token that enables the system to connect from the website into NetSuite. And there's a few settings that come as part of that token-based authentication. And if you've got any integrated function with NetSuite, this is the recommended way of integrating. So we have a consumer key and consumer key secret. You can see I can't see those. And there's a couple of other settings down here. The token ID and the token secret are all generated and created via NetSuite to enable a token-based authentication. That token is connected to an individual user, but it's not the username and password of that user that is used to log in. Let's have a look if our order was exported. I was just perhaps filling a bit of time there waiting for the order to export. As you can see, the order has come out of the back end and it's over in NetSuite. So we now process 2 orders in NetSuite. We've processed a retail order and also a wholesale order. So let's go and actually have a look at the sales orders, a new tab here in the system, and see what's come through. So we talked about 2 web order numbers, and you can see I've ordered by an internal ID. So the most recent orders are shown at the top of the screen here. You can see here's our 0168 order for 52.25, and here's our 0184 order. And so what we do is we're recording the web order back into NetSuite to enable that cross-reference between an email coming in from the website, not only to the customer, but to your sales order entry team, to the back end inside NetSuite. So what we'll do is I will come in and we'll do some fulfillment of these 2 orders in NetSuite and process them through into invoices. You did see there that those notes entered during the checkout were actually processed into the memo field. So now, of course, we've just generated the next sales order number in NetSuite. All we've done is reference, the web order to the particular back office sales order. We're not trying to create a different number set or anything like that. We're using that existing sales order number sequencing. So I'll just go through the fulfill and bill process for each of these and save them away. So here's our retail order 0848. I'll just save that. Actually, I need to wait for the order to load. I am using the test environment here. It's not a production environment, so it is a little bit slower than production, typically for demonstration and test environments. So letting that process. And what I'll also do once this is done is I'll go through the process of fulfilling and billing the invoice for the wholesale order. I might start a new tab to do the wholesale order. So here's our wholesale 040184. I'll view that one. So here's our $44 order. Once again, here's our notes. And you can see here in the PO number, that PO number entered PO 2022-0427. What we've done is we've concatenated the web order and the PO together to reference what the customer entered through the checkout plus the transaction that we created via Straightsell. Just assigning the locations there. I should have pressed save and bill. And last step here, so the wholesale order has generated 849 as invoice number. Just let that save away. Okay, so we've generated 2 invoices. We've got them in 2 different tabs. We've got 848 as the retail order invoice, and we've got 849 as the wholesale order. So one of the things in our integration, just jumping back into the CMS, back into import, publish in the Cloud Link function, we actually do import invoices. I mentioned that earlier. So what I'm going to do is just to get that invoice that we've just generated for that wholesale customer to the website and displaying, you can see I'm still logged in, jumping to the website, having a look at the account menu, and I'm coming down to invoices. So we do display invoices for wholesale customers on the website and enable payment of invoices. So I want that invoice to come through to the site. So I'm just going to tick back in the CMS. I'm going to tick import invoices and publish invoices and hit save and just kick off that process to import and upload new invoices. And so there it is displaying queued on the website. And that will go through the process of processing and et cetera to bring that invoice in. Now, while that's happening, we'll have a bit of a look at the retail invoice. Now, I talked about credit cards. When we processed this retail order on the website, I also processed a credit card payment. So we do actually process payments for credit card transactions back into NetSuite as receipts So I've got another payment function that I'll open here, and we'll actually find that order and we'll apply it to that invoice we've created. So for those retail orders processed online, there's not an invoice, so we can't apply the payment to the invoice. And so it is necessary to, after generating an invoice for that retail order, process a payment application against that invoice. And so here's this transaction that we did. You can see there's the 0168 from the web order attached in the memo. It's currently in the undeposited funds and it's not deposited. And so what I'm going to do is actually choose the account that I want the funds to go into within NetSuite. And because I've generated the invoice, and you can see there 00848 is there for $52.25. So I'm actually going to apply that at the same time and hit save. So once I've done that within the system and applied it, as I come back to that invoice, the 0848 invoice, and actually just refresh the screen, you'll see that that invoice for that web sales, that unique single one customer for all retail orders, and that particular invoice is paid in full. And that's because I've applied that credit card payment to that invoice. So let's have a look here. I'm still waiting for import invoices function to run, and it's still processing in the background for that upload of invoices. So while I do that, I might actually choose one of the other invoices on the system and actually just pay those. So I'll come in and I'll just choose, I can view the invoice as well. There is a web reprint version of that invoice printed via website. You can see here. It's not a full copy of the NetSuite invoice, but we can do that with a little bit of custom development work to match it. And so what I'll do here is I'll just choose pay invoice. And once again, that payment page that we saw during the checkout process is used on the pay invoices. I can choose multiple invoices and pay them. So what I'll do is I'll choose a stored credit card out of my browser cache stored card and choose pay now. What I'll check is whether my invoices upload. I can actually probably just check back on the invoices screen. And you'll see here in the time that I've paid that invoice, the import of invoices and upload of invoices to the website has run as well. And so invoice 0849 has been uploaded to the website for $8.49. Once again, you can see that invoice online. Okay, I've covered a lot of the functionality specifically around integration, but there's a whole range of functions and functionality available. And so I would, on the website front end, without even getting into the CMS, without even playing with the integration, that you should have a look at, and I encourage you to come back to that demonstration site on the themes page of the Straightsell website and have a bit of a play. Login details are available on the login page of that demonstration site, so you can log in and have a look at all the functions for the wholesale customer that I didn't cover today. But now a reminder, as Andrew mentioned, there is a recording of this, so I have covered a lot, so I'd encourage you also come back when that recording hits the website on the Liberate IT website. Go back through it, pause and rewind, and go back through some of those things that I covered in the session today. So thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. Very comprehensive. And thanks for taking us right through some of that functionality. I know getting pricing from NetSuite into a web store is quite tricky at times. So really appreciate that. We've got time now for Q&A. So while we're waiting for some questions to roll through, I might ask one off the top, if that's okay. Oliver, over to you. I noticed we didn't actually show stock levels in some of the websites that we showed. Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. So we extract, as part of the inventory transfer of items, all of the stock levels across from NetSuite. So things to include on the website would be an in-stock indicator, out of stock if you're having a hard stock stop. So for instance, limited items that you can't have more deliveries of, or also indicating to a customer that it's on back order. That's all configurable. Also, we can actually show the exact stock amount. So if you wanted to show customers that you had 10 in stock, you can do that too. And that's all part of the standard package.
Great. Awesome. Got a couple of questions that have come through. The first one from Mr. Anonymous Attendee. If a new customer registers on the website and automatically exported across to NetSuite, how would duplication be handled if the customer already exists in NetSuite?
If the customer already exists in NetSuite, probably the easiest thing to do, and this would be done as part of the project, is once the account data is uploaded, you go through a process of actually creating those accounts prior to launch of the website. So we can provide you the ability to do a mass create. So let's say, for instance, you've got 10,000 customers in NetSuite, but only 1,000 of those are going to be on the website. During the project, you can create a list of those and we can create the accounts for them ready to go. And additionally, once the website launches, we can send out an invite to them to say, hey, look at our brand new website. We're all ready to go. Here's your login details, and they can actually then make those changes. Additionally, if you had that as an ongoing basis where you wanted to create a customer, let's say a customer came along and wasn't buying from you previously and then came back and you had them in your database and they said, can we buy from you guys again? Then you just go through the process, log into the CMS, go into the account section, create them account, and then that would automatically email them their entry as well. So that's kind of catered for. There doesn't need to be any duplication.
Great. And also, often if people are buying on terms from you, you want to make sure you go through a credit check process first rather than
absolutely
automatically setting them up. Yeah.
So to prevent that kind of thing from happening, you can have the website just not enable the login after registration. It presents a message to say, hey, we'll be in contact with you. You can go through the vetting process. You've got their ABN, the company name, and if they're suitable, you then create them in NetSuite and then follow the process of creating them online and connecting the account that they created with the account number that you've generated in NetSuite. Again, no duplication.
Okay, great. That's it for questions that have come through. Thanks so much. One last one from me. I think Chris did mention how many customers you have, but although could you just remind me what sort of, have you got like a handful of customers or how have you?
Yeah, so we've got a total of 170 customers that are across all of the integrations. And in addition to that, for NetSuite specifically, we currently have 12. And if you go to our website section on our website, you can actually see all of those customers. We're very transparent about it. We don't want to hide anyone. So you can see what all of the customers' web stores look like. And that'll give you a good idea of also how the design of the website can vary, and all of them are connected in those 13 cases for NetSuite to the NetSuite as the source of truth for the catalog.
That's great. Sometimes when you're looking to partner with a developer, for example, you're really not sure what it is they've done in the past. So that's really transparent. Thanks so much, guys.
We hope this video gave you the information you were after. If you have any further questions, get in touch with us using the links in the description.